Rightio, On Loose Lines is back and ready, right on time. Mr. Nick Hooper, hello to you, my friend.
Mr. Paul Campbell, a delight to be here as usual.
Rightio, everyone who is watching knows how this works. Get involved in the show through the comment section and let's have some fun. Let's promote harness racing. We all love harness racing and we want to make it all make it grow. I've got to do something about this microphone at some stage, Nick, but we'll get to there. We'll get your comments, so please fire your comments in. Our topic tonight is, what are you looking for? We've got some, probably, I suppose, breaking news, Nick. We can nearly run with the fact that it is breaking news. We've definitely got some important harness racing news off the start of the bat as well.
Yes, HRV have announced literally minutes ago, I think, what the Breeders' Crown will look like this year and going forward. So significant news that I don't know will be particularly surprising to a lot, but nonetheless it will be disappointing to many because, simply put, the Breeders' Crown is taking a significant haircut, and the sort of haircut that you and I have to take. There's not much hair left.
There is not a lot left there. The release is there. You can obviously go to the trots and read this one here, you know, yourself to find that at any point of time. The significant points to outline, I was on the phone just to HRV just prior to that, is the section there, 2013, the stake money was just over $1 million of futurity payments. 1.6 was Vicbred funded. That can't be right. That's actually
106.
Yeah, there was 106,000. Sorry, yep.
Yeah, 1.1 was futurities, 100,000 was top up.
Yep.
And by 2023, it was 50-50. So a reflection of people deciding they didn't want to be part of the Breeders' Crown and to keep its stakes coming out of general stakes to the tune of almost 600 large last year. So HRV have basically said it's going to be futurities only, and so we get some pretty small numbers compared to what we're used to for the various finals. 2-year-old finals worth 80 plus for the Pacers, 40 plus for the 2-year-old Trotters, 60 plus for the 3-year-old Pacers, and 25 plus for the 3-year-old Trotters. So significant reductions. I'm sure there'll be many people very disappointed with that, but ultimately what HRV are saying, and we know that they've not got a lot of spare cash, that if people want this to go ahead, then people need to put their money up. It'll be interesting to see how everyone votes with their dollars.
And that was one thing that Michael Howard said to me there before. It is not going anywhere. It's not scrapped. It's not finished. People will race for the pot. So whatever's put in is actually what people will be racing for. Nutrien do a similar thing, albeit a little bit differently with their sales series. The amount of people that sustain, that is, they take a percentage. I think they take a percentage of each sale, and then the amount of people that sustain, that draws up the pot. And then they go from there, they divvy it up out of that way. It's sustainable. We need these sustainable races. So as much as what you just said there before, Nick, it is a massive haircut, $80,000, $40,000, $60,000 and $20,000 races. They are not coming out of potential stake money for industry participants who have been taking haircuts right across the board. So this affects the Breeders' Crown on its own, but people who race in the Breeders' Crown can rest assured that they're racing for what they've put in.
That's right. So, which again is, if we're forgetting the past of the Breeders' Crown, the immediate past, it's the way that futurities are done. So it's just that we've gotten used to money being put in by, in this case, HRV. So it's disappointing because outwardly it's going to mean that the glamour of the series, the large prize money, etc., disappears. In some regards, it's like for the 3-year-old Trotters, 25 grand plus, and we don't know what the final number will be, but that's well under. It's going to be sitting well down the rankings as to what people will have a crack at. So it's going to, it's interesting times ahead, and people will need to, make their decisions as to what they want to be involved in. For example, the Need for Speed, Breed for Speed 3-year-old series, it carries greater prize money and is a true futurity that, to the best of my knowledge, wipes its own face, to use the colloquial. The Breeders' Crown looks like being somewhere in the order of half what the Need for Speed is. So you've got to ask yourself the question: do you need at that level 2-3-year-old futurities? Are you better off bolstering one and not the other? Then again, you could easily argue that having 2 races means you get 2 winners. Everyone will have their views, and looking forward to comments from the viewers tonight.
We've got plenty on too. Louise Toolman, Sharon Ralph, Toby McKinnon, Nathan Rice, Joe Pace, heaps of people. Hello to you, Stuart Turner, and also Jeffrey Dixon. Hello to you as well, my friend. So that's good to go from there. Heard Breeders' Crown going to be phased out. Joe, I just said then they are not phasing it out. The HRV have told me that they will not phase it out as long as people continue to pay it. So that is one thing. There's a couple of little things I do want to get out here as well, so people are aware. Heats into finals, there's no semis. I think that part will be celebrated by a lot of people, but I would imagine that's because of the state money. So, and there's no prize money for the heats. And they're actually, the dates of those are announced. So November 6th, the heats at Maryborough for the Trotters, and the Pacers on November 8th at Melton. So I imagine roughly a Wednesday, Friday. And then I presume, November 16, all the finals will be on. And there's a change to the finals there as well. There is no 4-year-olds, no graduate races. It will only be 2 and 3-year-olds will be discontinued. And to bolster that meeting to change it up, I do like this. The Caduceus Club, the Caduceus Classic, free for all for the Pacers is 75,000 is added onto that, and also the Australian Trotting Grand Prix as well, to help assist our fast class horses get ready for the Inter-Dominion. So they understand what they're up against, HRV, and they're trying to do the best for everyone. But I need people to, a lot of people ask us on the date, so November 6 and 8 for the heats, into the final on the 16th. And then also the Caduceus Classic and the Australian Trotting Grand Prix on those 2 days. Point thing, do not have to be Breeders' Crown eligible for those races. Those races are open to all horses. So, yeah.
That's right. So that's not a change for those races, but a change for that class of race on the Breeders' Crown program. But I think people will work that out pretty quickly. It does make it effectively. It'll be interesting to see how many decide to pay up from interstate or over in New Zealand. That was decreasing anyway for the reasons set out in the press release, that other jurisdictions have been bolstering their own futurities and estate-based schemes, a lot of which either didn't exist or were smaller versions of what they are now. That competition has played part of a role in people not wanting to pay up. We've seen the heats disappear from other states and come to Victoria. So, yes, what do people want to pay up for? What do the breeders want to pay up for? What do the stallion owners want to pay up for? What will the yearling buyers want to pay up for? So, given the sales races are now substantially greater, are we going to see people perhaps moving away from the Breeders' Crown and deciding to enter their yearlings into the sales, whether that's actually into the sales or as a non-sales entry, which again, not everybody has that in their futurities. And so there's lots of different things that breeders and owners are going to have to think about.
Yeah, well, APG do non-sales entries, Nutrien don't. And I know. Look, I talk to Nutrien quite a lot. Anyone knows that. Bardo doesn't believe in it. Their biggest stock or sale they have, that has just got bigger and bigger and bigger. You can't. Your horse has to go through the sale ring to be eligible, or you have to buy at the sales. That's the only way you can be eligible. You cannot not partake in the sale. So, there's that side of it. The other side of it is, you got a valuable horse, but you want it to race for the best money. So there's always pros and cons with both. Nick, I will throw one thing to you and to the listeners as well. Just thinking as you were talking there before, this calendar, albeit we still race for 12 months, the calendar has got so much shorter because effectively no one wants to race through the winter months in any way. And for the 2-year-olds, it's too hard to race prior to those winter months, albeit Nutrien did this year, but people find it hard, especially with the trotters and things along those lines. Is there an opportunity potentially for HRV going forward to maybe move the Breeders' Crown, stamp it as an early 2-year-old race, and people then potentially can pay up for that horse maybe and put it in that time slot? It's just something that I was thinking as it was going, and say, right, we're going to have our Vic Bred, we're going to have our major futurities at the end of the year. Breeders' Crown is going to be, first week of May. I'm just pulling a figure out. So is that an opportunity, maybe something laterally to think about?
In my view, yes. The topic of tonight is what are we looking forward to for the rest of the year? And one of the things I'm looking forward to is the condensed juvenile racing. But the fact that there is very little of it, especially for the 2-year-olds in the first half of the year, I think can be should be adjusted. The simple fact is, in New South Wales, they run the Pink Bonnet and other 2-year-old races quite early on in the season, and they're well received. They go to Bathurst in New South Wales earlier in the season. So in New South Wales, they actually have got a better spread than what we do here in Victoria. There's lots of decisions that breeders and yearling owners have got to make. Will we see? I think we've seen, and I'm sure some folk in New South Wales would give us the stats, but I think that there's more likely to be more Victorians, and probably have been, signing up for Bathurst eligibility over recent years because of some of the changes. This may well be another thing that changes people's behaviours. What do they want to pay up for? What do they want to be involved in? But yes, let's look at moving it elsewhere. I think one of the best things that can occur through a feature race program for any cohort is that we get a number of different horses having a chance at winning a good race. I think it's worth looking at, as you say, bringing it into the first half of the year, spreading it out a bit, because otherwise no one brings out their 2-year-olds until very late on in the year.
Yeah, exactly, and they look after them. But we want to showcase everything through the year, and if someone gets a young horse up and going, we've seen it this year with Poster Boys. They've been able to get up and get going early, win a Breeders' Crown. No one actually worries about the prize money as such once you've walking past with the Breeders' Crown rug on. So from Lower Long Farm's point of view, to advertise Poster Boy having had a 2-year-old Breeders' Crown winner for the first year, great advertising for the stallion, great way to reinvigorate it. But it also gives those owners maybe who purchase a yearling, the early precocious horse. You could look at your yearling sales differently at what you want to buy. The other thing is, you say there before about Bathurst, and I was racking the Bathurst part, it's Bathurst Gold Crown. So all of a sudden we could have the crowns at the start of the year, and it could work. Like, it may not work, but it could definitely work.
I'll give you another one. We've just had, I'm sure, the Proto Stars at 500,000 is now arguably your preeminent 2-year-old event for the year. To make it even more attractive for Victorian horses, run the Breeders' Crown in the lead up to the Proto Stars, so that potentially it gives the better Victorian horses the chance to get that invite and a slot into what is a fantastically rich race. There was already some very good Victorian representation just in the recent edition. Maybe this is a way of bolstering that and giving Vic bred horses or Victorian horses, well, they'll be Breeders' Crown eligible, but a lot of them are Vic bred, that chance to build up and be ready for the Proto Star.
Yeah, but you say that, then all of a sudden it becomes attractive. If it's in a time slot, say 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, maybe have a talk to Racing Queensland and the Creek, work out what suits for them. Like, there is that option as well. Like, we can solve a few problems here. Jeff Dixon's asked, is there too many 2- and 3-year-old series Breeders' Crown, Homegrown Series, Nutrient, etc.? Should we just have 1 or 2 major races for that age group? But then the problem with that is, my thoughts, Nick, before yours, we want people to spread the love. We want people to be able to enjoy it. If these races are sustainable, the Nutrient one, as I said there before, the Nutrient one will be sustainable. The APG one, I imagine, is sustainable as well for their payments as well as the way that they do it. As long as these other ones are sustainable, we should have them. The Protostar is sustainable because it's a slot race effectively.
I don't think we have too many, provided that we get adequate nominations into the heats. But the principle of having a number of different ways that you can target your juvenile at a classic or a semi-classic, I think gives plenty of people the chance to aim for something, because at the end of the day, I know as an owner, all I want to know for my horse is, what are we aiming at? We're coming up for a preparation. What are we trying to aim at? What race are we trying to win? We all dream about winning a really big race, but sometimes it's about being able to target a 25 or a 30 or $50,000 race because you're not quite good enough to win the others. So I think having a good range of them is important because it gives different owners a chance to have a crack at something. And if you've got a dream attached to the efforts of your juvenile, then you're more willing to pay up, and it gives you something to get excited about.
No, totally agree. A couple other questions here. Joe Pace, Breeders should be 1 race final, only top 12 highest stake earners. That's definitely another way of looking at it, that if you do pay up, you're going to have a running tally. That would have to then be at the end of the season, but that's definitely a way of thinking of it.
Yes, I think so. I think the problem, and that was an idea that we discussed around when I was on the HBV committee a little while ago. We discussed that similar concept in terms of what you might do with the Breeders' Crown. I think that one of the problems is that if the prize money is dropping to this level, then the incentive for people to want to fight it out in that diminishes. And I would suspect that you would need more substantial prize money to entice everyone to treat it like a grand final. I like the idea. I think it needs the prize money to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeke Slater, Susan Hayes, plenty of people watching. Johnny McLean, Mick Barbie. He watches a lot, Mick Barbie. I think this is the first time he's actually sent anything in. So, and you'll find this one interesting. Be interesting to see if the trotting owners feel if those stakes are worth enough to pay up for. And as a trotting owner, Nick, I think you almost alluded to it when you were reading it out.
Well, I think so. I mean, you need to make your calls, but I think Mick's onto something here. And if you've got different choices, depending upon what your horse is eligible for, you're now going to think twice about it. If your horse, because you're making yourself eligible for the Need for Speed or Breed for Speed, I always interchange them and bugger up which one is the mare's race and which one's the 3-year-old, but we know what I mean.
Yep.
That comes into play, your Vic Bred eligibility. There's only so much money that everybody's got. I think Mick's onto it. It will be interesting to see how people make their decisions. I think HRV will have said that they're leaving it up to the industry, but I think that, and that's fair enough because the industry will vote with their dollars. But I think a little more discussion and debate from through Greg Gangle and his team with industry participants, because there may well be some interest in it being persevered with, but we're going to have to place it right. It's going to have a purpose. Otherwise, it will get lost.
Yep. And the flip side of it is too, the smaller breeder, might say, this is my opportunity. I can't keep up. Like the trotters for a start, Duncan, Pat, Alabar, all these big breeders, they can't keep up with these guys now. This might be my opportunity for my moment in the sun.
Well, it may well be. And we know that some of the bigger stables have had great success in the Breeders' Crown over time. Emma Stewart, Mark Purdon. Will they now actually decide, well, we might run in that still, but we're actually going to put our better ones are going to be aimed at the Protostar. Our better ones are going to be aimed at this or that or whatever it might be. Will the reduction in prize money perhaps make it a little easier for average Joe and Josephine to pick up one of these? So again, it's all speculation that I'm entering into there as to what people's behaviours will be, but only time will tell.
I can say right now. Well, actually, I'll put the release back up because we've got quite a few. If you have missed it, the Breeders' Crown is now. It's taken a haircut, as Nick said, a little bit like mine and his. Pretty massive. This year, the 2-year-olds will be racing. Paces will be racing for 80,000. The 2-year-old trotters for 40,000. The 3-year-old pacing finals will be 60,000. These are the finals, of course, and the 3-year-old trotters will only be 25,000. So that's what Mick Barbie and a few people were commenting on that. It will be no 4-year-old graduate races. The night will be shared with the Caduceus Club Classic and the Australian Trotting Grand Prix. That is November the 16th, to assist in the fast class horses getting to the Inter-Dominion. So it does take a massive change and a massive new look. It's not dead and buried. We've had a couple of people say that it is. It is not dead and buried. It's just something that people need to potentially think about and how they go. It could go back to being the Bendigo Breeders' Crown and self-sustainable. Personally, I like the fact that it'll be self-sustainable. I think for our industry and where it's at, I think that's a great thing.
I think, ultimately it's necessary because rank and file will want to make sure that their standard stakes are protected, and this decision is a part of ensuring that is the case. But exactly what the future holds in terms of stakes, who knows? We can only but hope they are maintained going forward.
I thought you were about to leave me. When I saw you standing up, I'm like, he's off. We haven't even started. No, we're going to talk about.
Look, no, I'm not going. I'm not doing a 15-minute cameo. It was more a case of the legs were starting to hurt, so I'm standing up. So it's I'll
I don't know whether
the older you get, mate, start to go on you.
I don't know whether it's if it's right or not, but I believe since I've changed this desk and the standing up one, I agree. It's a lot easier to do, and I think it's you do get cumbersome sitting down. Before we will finish this topic because we've got plenty of others to get on with. Jeff Dixon wrote, great answer to my question, but there were a lot of 6-horse fields last season, and I think he'd be saying then with the Nutrien races and those, and there are addresses to change those. Mark alluded to that last week on last week's show, that they are looking at different dates, especially for the trotters. Interestingly enough, Nick, end of the season, so it could work both ways. The paces will still stay with the heats, but there's a potential. They're still working through that the trotters might be the other side of winter. So I think. Spot on. Totally agree. We don't want 6-horse fields. We want big fields. I think that part is actually great. What has been happening. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, Nick. I'm going to put the ticker across the bottom. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the season? I suppose my tease for you, Nick, because sometimes you need something to get yourself motivated. But I think since then I've got a full page of stuff, and so have you. But I know Breeders' Crown, I got a text message from you at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Where is the Breeders' Crown? What's going on? It was on your radar. Is this dampened you a little bit, or how do you feel right at the minute?
Well, it does, because one of the things you love about the Breeders' Crown is the big prize money, the excitement, the weekend. I've loved it in its various iterations over the years, whether it was at the regional tracks or it's been more recently at Melton. There was massive numbers associated with it that gave it a day of excitement. I think, despite what's been said about it's still alive, etc., the amount of excitement will diminish. I think that that's an unfortunate fact. I'm still looking forward to it. There's still going to be a good day, but it will. Without trying to sound too negative, it'll be a little more of a good race program rather than something super special. But we're still going to see some really good racing. We're still going to see some extremely good horses running around. It's still going to be exciting racing. So I think it comes down a notch. I don't think it becomes a race meeting that you don't want to be attached to or interested in. I'll still be interested. But what am I looking forward to? Largely the juvenile racing going forward. It was great to see the Proto Star and some really good horses going around there. I've loved seeing the success this year of some of the first season stallions, especially some who are Vicbred Pure eligible. I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to go and their progeny and the very best races. There's a lot to look forward to in that regard, whether it be Derbies, Oaks, Vicbred Series, Redwood Day is still yet to come. So, and then of course we got the Inter-Dominion, and again, you know, I don't know, I'm addicted to the Inter. I love it. So, can't wait to see how that rolls out right at the end of the year.
Hello, Trent Mason, my friend from New Zealand, Luna Lodge. Hello to you. Please come back, Nick. I think, I'm not sure, it hasn't ended. Not a fucking again.
Look, am I back?
You're back. I'm not sure if
Was
we're
it me?
No, it was me. It was me. I can't see what Facebook's doing, unfortunately.
Am I back?
You're back.
Right, we're still live. Nick, just so you know, we are still live on YouTube. And I'm just going to try and fix this up while you are there. I'm just going to try and fix this back up onto Facebook as we speak. It's a bit frustrating, this. I do not know why it does it, Nick. I apologise, but it does annoy me a little bit.
It looks like it's paused on Facebook.
Yeah, the YouTube is definitely still there.
Hello to everyone on YouTube.
There's a few people, 4 people watching. They'll be laughing. They'll be thinking, what are these 2 idiots doing? So, yeah, I do apologise.
No, that's what. Hello to everyone on YouTube, and that's what they think when we're normally just doing our normal stuff.
Yeah, I've got to get to the bottom of this, Nick, but I believe we will be back live on Facebook very shortly. Yes, we are. So now, Nick, we are back. Right, we are back, and we've had a few issues. Anyone watching on YouTube has not missed anything. So we have fixed that part up. I have to get rid of our comments because we can't have comments anymore because I can't restart that other computer because it's way over there, and it's one of the issues that I do have. But please, anyone that is back watching, we are back live, and we have spoken about the Breeders' Crown. Nick, you said there before about what you're looking forward to is with the 2-year-olds. I'm actually looking forward to the trotters. And I say this because with what New Zealand have recently announced, the Inter-Dominion, the gravity of prize money that's out there now for trotters has never been seen. They've got a 3-year-old slot race now for the trotters that's going to be very close to the Victorian Derby. How people position these horses, it's a $500,000 3-year-old trot race. Is that going to affect our Victorian Derby? Are we going to get Kiwi horses coming across? I think it could work 2 ways. The trotters with the Dominion handicap, I know there's at least 4 Victorian trotters, high-class trotters that are aiming at the Dominion at 400,000. The Inter-Dominion is, 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after. So I'm looking forward to the game of chess, if you like, of how people actually play their cards and going forward, what they are actually able to do.
Very much so. I'll just segue out to come back in. 20 years ago, everyone had to come to Victoria because all the big races were in Victoria, or just about all. With Victoria now struggling, the boot on the other foot, if you've got a decent horse here in Victoria, you now have to travel because whilst we're struggling, the opportunities being generated in other jurisdictions just mean it's, well, I was going to say get your passport out. You don't need that to cross the border here, but you need it to get across the ditch. The opportunities are going to mean that you've got a good horse will travel. Dominion Handicap, I'm pretty sure that of that 4, Just Believe will be heading over there and then heading back to Sydney. I'm pretty sure that's the plan. That'll be no surprise to anybody. Can't wait to see how that all unfolds. So, yeah, exciting times. Absolutely. $500,000 3-year-old trotting slot races. Who would have thunk? You know, it's incredible.
RC Phoenix is one of those horses as well that will be targeting that. Queen Alita, great to hear that. I don't think she's going to the breeding barn, but I believe she will be tackling it as well. So, you know, that in itself is also exciting for our industry. But as I said, just the posturing. I don't know what Greg's got planned with any of his 3-year-old trotters, but he's going across there. There's $1 million pacing race on as well. So Better Eclipse could be going across for that. Does he come back for the Inter Dominion? You know, like there's these things. Now all of a sudden Victoria have moved the Australian Trotting Grand Prix. There's a $50,000 race on, you know, a week and a half prior to the Inter Dominion starting. So
it's exciting. I mean, I think it means that if you're a fan anywhere across Australasia, it's there's some wonderful opportunities to hop onto your favourite travel website and go and book yourself a couple of little holidays and go and enjoy some really world-class harness racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I do apologise to all the Facebook people. They're starting to come back on. Please get your questions in. We take as many questions as you want about the Breeders' Crown. We will continue to do it, but we want to try and have a little bit of fun. A couple of things. Nick, I've got one thing for you. You know, we've got to reinvigorate our sport and look at it a bit differently. The Hambletonian is on this weekend. I was able to watch the heats of that the other day. Horse Carl and TCI, they both trotted. Interestingly enough, one trotted 150.3. Carl did. TCI 150.4, which is just amazing for trotters, full stop. But Greg Gangle, I was talking to Greg about it, and when he told me this, it pricked my ears a little bit. When you win a feature race over there in North America, you get the right to have. They're all random barrier draws. Why is this crashing?
Yeah.
You're back, aren't you? But Facebook ain't. It's gone again.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know whether it's me or whether it's not, but
no, it's me.
What I'm seeing of you is very, very pixelated, which I think I've got decent Wi-Fi here, but yeah. Anyway.
No, it's me, mate, and I apologise. I don't like doing this, but I think we'll pull it a pin. I apologise, mate. It's pissing. I can't keep swearing because the guys on YouTube are still watching. Had so many more things to cover off on, but until I can get this fixed, it shouldn't do it. I've had no issues with it, and then tonight it decides it's going to do it. It's a little bit frustrating, mate. So I think instead of buggering you up and the rest of everyone else up, I might call it a quits if that's okay.
No problem at all.
All right, mate. Thank you very much. I do apologise.
I'm happy to hang around if you want to give it one. That's all right.
Yeah,
but calling it.
It's clunky though. You and I are both clunky, so there's something going on. It's like I've lost all my. We're still live on YouTube, so don't swear too much. I did swear just before. Just give me 1 sec. I'll check one thing and see something. But
the YouTube viewers are waiting for us to swear. They're hanging on it.
Nah, even YouTube just went into buffing. So there's definitely something wrong, mate. I apologise. I will say it's ever since the things collapsed, the blue screen. So I think we got the main point that HRV won out anyway tonight. So that was we've looked after them in that sense. But so it shouldn't be doing it. I've got good service. I'm actually looking at it, and the service is good. There's something dropping out, and I don't know what it is.
Right, so it's software based.
I've got too much happening at somewhere, but I was able to get rid of everything. So far tonight, the only thing using the internet is that and that other computer, and that shouldn't be an issue because it's just sitting there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Nick, you stay there for 1 sec, mate. YouTube's still live. I'm coming back. I'm just going to do one thing.
No worries.
People can see you on your phone.
Yes, that's all right. I'm just looking to see what's happening on Facebook, and it's all it's stopped.
Yep, Facebook stopped. So I've done one more thing. If it drops out again, that's it. We will definitely call it. But right at the minute, I'll just go Facebook for a third time, mate, and let's hope to goodness to gracious, without swearing too much, it does go again. We're back live on Facebook, mate, on a different one. So just giving you the heads up. Get out of that one. Rightio, so we are back live. I do apologise for this. It is frustrating, but I enjoy doing these shows. We just had a few issues just recently, and it's definitely not fixing up. Hopefully, it shouldn't do anything from now. Nick, you're back with me, mate. And we're going to give it one more try. If we have any more issues, that's it. But I've called this one technical because it is getting very, very technical. That is for sure. I started to say, I'll go back to it with the Hambletonian on, the way we can look at it in industry in a different light. Carl and TCI the other day both tried at very similar times. And if you are rewarding the winners here, we let them hand pick a barrier draw, or they get one or two and go from there, whichever way it does it. Over there, they do a random barrier draw. They go to random from six of those posies, and they're able to effectively, well, they're not able to. It's still random barrier draw. It doesn't stifle betting necessarily, and it changes things up, but it rewards these horses for winning their heats and changes it up. Do you reckon it's something we could try here in Australia?
Well, it's worth debate. There's no doubt about it. What are the aims in a series which has heats into a final? You've got a few. The first is to make sure that your heats are competitive and that people are genuinely striving to win a heat rather than just sneaking into 5th or 6th place and making a final. We want our heat racing to be competitive. So if there's something that can be done with the barrier draw for the final that encourages that, then you would probably argue that's a good thing. The options are, so far, have been a purely random barrier draw. We've seen here in Victoria in recent times where owners and connections have been given the chance to pull out balls out of the barrel, and my ability to pull out the number 6, 7, 11 and 12 is unequalled. Greg and Jess almost kicked me out of the stable for stuffing up their chances. The other alternative is obviously that you get to choose your barrier in your order. So I don't mind the idea of what you're putting up because it's sort of sitting halfway in between. It's there's an element of randomness. In other words, you've scraped into the final and you go, well, I've now got no hope because I'm drawing barrier 12. Whereas if it's random, you're still a chance of a good barrier. Look, yeah, I don't know. There's pros and cons. I think at the end of the day, if we had ourselves a solution that was perfect, we would already have it. There are flaws with everyone. I'm not sold on one way or the other. I'm going to, sit on the fence here and leave it up to the viewers to tell us what they think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we've got a few back, so please get involved. And as we said, we did start the show off with the announcement of the Breeders' Crown. It was about 3 episodes ago. They're all still there. And if you're still watching on YouTube, thank you very much. And apologies for the swear words, but I think YouTube's okay with a couple of those words, so it doesn't matter. I just think I like the opportunity of changing it up. Did you watch any of those?
I did. I watched both of the heats. The 2 winners were very strong. I watched them and didn't think they were actually going that fast until I heard the final times. And I think in one of them, they ran a last quarter in 26 flat. And I'm like, that's just unbelievable. I didn't really see anything from back in the field having a really strong chance. So I suspect the winner may well come from the horses that won, maybe those that ran second. But it's a new race on Saturday with a new barrier draw. So, viewing.
Very, very good. Stacey Lee says she was enjoying the interim show. She must have been watching on YouTube then, I'd say, and heard the other words coming through from time to time. They also had their Oaks. It was just interesting. They had the Hambletonian Oaks heats as well. 150.3, 151.3, 151.4, and 151.4. Which, fuck,